Hi, everyone. I'm Gwen Callahan. I'm one of the co-directors of the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival, and I am joined by Elizabeth Schuch and Konstantinos Koutsoliotas, the co-writers and director of MINORE, the what they've called my big fat Greek monster movie, but we call it Big Fun. So thank you so much for joining us for this Q&A. We've seen this movie a couple times, and I hope our streaming audience is enjoying it. It was just released last night, so we let people know that we would be talking to you live today. And I'm hoping that people tune in and watch and ask questions as we go along. But we've already got a few questions from people that I'll get to, because I have a couple of questions of my own. So Konstantinos, we know that you work in the effects industry, working on other people's projects all the time. And it sounds like it's a grueling job sometimes, because like people need everything faster and faster and faster and more and more and more. How do you find the time to work on your own projects? So we showed one of your films way back in 2013 called The Winter.
Yeah.
And then I know you've had a couple of projects in between there. Fear of Looking Up came out a couple of years ago, and then with MINORE, MINORE is an ambitious project. It's got a huge cast. It's got some really amazing effects. It's got like a great setting. So yeah, how do you find the time to do all of this?
How do we do it, Elizabeth?
We just don't have lives.
Yeah,
we
have lives.
literally have no lives. We'll finish this interview and he's gonna go do more shots for his day job after that.
2 cats and that's it.
Yeah, he just doesn't leave the house.
Yeah.
We basically chain him to the desk and then just make him do shots after shots.
Basically, you go mad if you like working on other people's projects all the time. So you need to do your own things, and you need to escape, basically.
Having that creative outlet is really important. It also helps you kind of surrender to other people's projects more easily. So you're not like, oh, but it could be, you could have this idea. Like you're not trying to impose your artistic will upon other people's projects like inappropriately. You're like, I have an idea and I will satisfy this later at home.
But yeah, the frustrating bit is like working in big Hollywood films, and then the budget they have like for pencils, basically you don't even have like for one shot of your film. So it's like you can see the discrepancies. Like if you had the money, you could make it much better, but you're poor. So yeah.
You work with what you have. Oh my gosh. So how long did it take from so when did you first get the idea to make MINORE?
We started like
it was almost 10 years ago exactly. We were showing The Winter at its premiere festival in Thessaloniki in Greece, which is a beautiful city like on the bay in northern Greece, and it's just got a wonderful harbor. The festival is like on the edge of the water but also on a pier, and we were just so excited because it was our first film, and like just like, what are we gonna do next? And looking out at the water, it was like, what if like a big Cthulhu monster sort of thing just kind of started like rising out of the bay here in Greece, and like how would Greece handle that? Like what would that be like?
And back then it was like the kind of economic crisis, but it took us like, I felt like, oh, like you can like, instead the monsters would be like some like a metaphor for the economic crisis, basically. But now by the time we finished, it was COVID, so it's like that all works as well. So,
yeah, we started writing it in like that year, and then kind of started applying for funding about 2013 2015, and like it took that long to get funded. We thought I'd never get funded. We thought this is silly, no one's ever gonna say yes to this. And
especially it was funded by like the Greek Film Center, basically, and one of the Greek channels. But the big problem that Greece has, usually you're not allowed even to show like the church even in the background in the film. And we had this scene inside the church that these things happen. So it's like,
with
imagine
slime and zombies.
Imagine how well it went in Greece. It's like, and like, can I say a small bit here, like for the only way we could fund this is we found this church in a military base, right? and the commander of the military base. It wasn't attached to the Archdiocese of Greece. It was just like not consecrated.
Because the army owned the property, it wasn't an official church. So, because no official church would touch the project, and half of the third act is in a church.
But the problem is like the army has good relations with the church, so it will be still hard. But basically, the full title of MINORE in the beginning was in Greek was MINORE, the MINORE of Lamia. And Lamia is like, you can take it two ways. It's like the ancient Greek monster that kills children. That was very first, the first title we had. But it's a place in Greece as well, like, like Oregon.
Lamia.
Like,
so it's like a slight difference in the pronunciation when it's capitalized.
When
you can't tell.
When the commander saw the title, it's like, it happened to be from that place, Lamia. And he never read the script. It was like, oh, the MINORE from my hometown. Of course, come guys and shoot it.
So he thought we were making a musical about his hometown. So we got approval to shoot the zombie priest scenes.
And when they start bringing zombies inside the chest, like, what the fuck? So yeah, it was good times.
Which I actually see you have a question about the undead priest, which for us is super fun. One of the things like I like to personally use like certain church imagery or Catholic imagery, and like the idea of like the incorrupt saints and stuff. We just love the idea that the local priest would become an incorrupt dead saint at the end, and having him do the dancing, this really traditional dancing, well zombified. It's very satisfying, and Kostas has his own opinions on that stuff.
No, also as well, there's like together with the Lovecraftian mythos, there is a connection with kind of a Greek writer, Nikos Kazantzakis, basically, that wrote Zorba the Greek, and the church hated him. And it's like him dancing to kind of this. It's my thing of saying like, yeah,
quiet middle finger.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a dance format.
That's the thing that kind of like we're wondering how some of the things would translate to like, a not Greek audience, because there's so many connections that you cannot explain, basically.
Yeah, we were wondering how American audiences would take it. I mean, obviously I'm from the States originally, so I am looking at the script with that point of view of like, is this still a story if you don't know the Greekness of this? But yeah, it's
there's a bit like one last tidbit, sorry, like there's a bit that like the guys with the bike fall at the end, basically. And the Deus Ex Machina. In Greece, this is called Machina, is the same name as motorbike.
Yeah, so the theater concept of like a god coming from the machine at the end.
Stupid like that, basically. It's got like stupid Greek connotation sometimes. That
you just know the concept of like the god of the machine at the end of a theater play, like that's sort of tracks.
Sort of works.
If not, it's just silly, and that's okay too.
As we were watching the film, we were wondering if there were some things that were that we were missing the context of. So kind of like when you watch The Simpsons, if you haven't watched all the latest movies, you don't know all the latest singers, like some of the jokes kind of like go by you, but I think that people pick up on, we at least picked up on like, oh, I bet that's something in the Greek culture that we're missing out on that's like funny for them. So it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the film, and it kind of made me think like, oh, I should be watching more Greek films so that I have a better understanding of everything. And that's another question someone asked in the Discord was about the music, and the idea of like going to a pub and there's just like 3 people in the audience and there's 10 people on the stage playing instruments.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. The whole thing is like, it used to be like this kind of like underground kind of the anarchists and like the high stringers and the kind of
it's the music of the diaspora that like it's Greeks that used to be living in the Turkish regions that were expelled at one point and then settled in port towns in Greece and started making this. It's like a blues kind of music, so it's a deeply personal, sad, cultural, but also became this like
and now
part
it has
of the
become
underground.
But now has become kind of the opposite, like a very touristy thing. That's why kind of like, the dance is like the owner of the thing, like Alexis dance and he takes his set off because it's like it happens every night and they're doing it like for tourists, and so it's one of the things that it kind of like you can still find places in Greece that is kind of like hidden and, you know, like not many people know, but most of the places, like, you know, it's very touristy. So
Yeah.
still exists. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same. You go and it's very Greek. That's it would be exactly like that. Yeah.
And that style of music, it's called rebetikos.
Rebetiko, yeah.
Rebetiko.
It's basically songs that written in the 20s, 30s, like up to like 60s.
Yeah.
People still write them. It's just
And
this kind of
we had
blues.
original ones made for the movie that use poetry.
Yeah,
With the poet. Yeah.
it's like a Kariotakis. He's like a Greek poet that basically he's like our Edgar Allan Poe almost. He kind of like he was very sad and like very kind of melancholy, and like he tried to commit suicide like by drowning in the sea, and he couldn't manage it, and he's just like, do not try to drown in the sea. He just killed himself at the end. But yeah, it's other than that, it's great. No, it's like it's a lovely kind of like his poetry is absolutely lovely, basically. And if you're into Poe, you should kind of maybe check him out. But it's like reading Poe in not the English language. It doesn't translate very well, so it translates better if it's, you know, in the language it's written. I guess.
I had another question from one of our reviewers from the Scariest Things podcast, Eric Lee. And if you go to thescariestthings.com with one T in the middle, you can find the review. But he was wondering if because he you know, the story is that like you're fighting off these creatures with the music, it's kind of holding them at bay in what we think of as a very Erikson kind of way, where they have to play the music, otherwise these creatures are going to come and invade us. But he asked, is the tune of Hermes Trismegistos a song of antiquity? Is that a real song or?
No, basically my own like back in my childhood I used to like do a little bit of, I don't know, like dwell with what's his name, the magician, you know, like the fuck, forgetting him now.
David Copperfield?
No.
No? The magician.
Aleister Crowley, basically. So yeah, so it's like very
the opposite of David Crowley.
Similar, but not quite. So it was kind of like, it's just a little bit of his kind of trying to insert some of the, you know, this kind of metaphysical
quotes.
Yeah.
The song itself is an interesting one. We have some friends who are, let's say, quite in tune with the realm of magic in their past lives, and able to kind of remember things from their past.
If you believe in this kind of things.
And if you don't, it's a brilliantly entertaining idea. And so they conceived of the tune of that a little bit from the actual, from some dreams they had of music of the ancient times. So they had remembered these songs from a more ancient era. So the era of the men inside the monster, actually. So they it's like an ancient song that you would play on a lira, on a lyre. And
like,
yeah, that so we based that on that, but also
like just to explain, like these friends of ours are like not like the amazing artists,
Renaissance artists,
like
everything.
Not cases though, like they paint. And one day he came and it's like, oh, in a dream I learned to play the lyra, the ancient harp, and here's the tune.
Yeah,
and that was the tune. It's like,
yeah,
it was a beautiful tune. I was like, what the fuck? It was actually
stunning.
Yeah, it was and we used like that as the basis of.
Also, some of the songs. Okay, I don't know if you know the Hieronymus Bosch, like Crazy Gardens of Delights kind of things. One of them has some music written on someone's bum.
Yes.
I think it was a while back, but me and the composer were kind of like, we wanted to put a little joke in. So I think some of the music in the film might have might be vaguely related to the music on the bum from the Hieronymus Bosch.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That's how my sense of humor rolls.
The thing's like, it's a crazy amount of like thought when this film makes it snow, like, you know, but it's like I don't think you should explain everything really.
We'll have fun, but we have thought about everything really hard and artistically too.
So people need to watch it again and like pay close attention to like various things.
No, just have fun, eat popcorn.
Yeah.
Like
But I love movies where even you like on the overall impact is like, oh my gosh, this is such a fun movie. But then every time you watch it again, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't notice that before. And you start to see like little different things pop up every time you see it. One of the other questions, so one of the questions that Eric Lee also had, and what I also had was like, it's a very large ensemble cast. When you were setting out to write the script, did you already have in mind that this was going to be like an army of musicians fighting against, the big cosmic horror? And then how did you kind of go about giving each character their own very distinct personality?
Oh, tell them about the gaming sheets.
Oh yeah, basically we wrote it like kind of when how do we start explaining
Okay.
Like
we started with the people in the bar, and then it just kind of expanded. Like you have to have a granny.
Each guy is kind of like a person we actually know in real life. So they're not random people. It's like
not all, but a lot. Like the Viking.
Exaggerated, like the guy in the gym used to be exactly like the introduction of him like taking a haircut in the gym. Basically, it's my boss when I used to work in the gym like 20 years ago. So they're all like in like real life people. The painter is like that painter we just discussed you about, like and obviously we storyboarded everything, and I did like character sheets basically of like each character, what would wear, what would have like
if it was a gaming thing.
Yeah, you're playing an RPG basically. Yeah, and had like strength, like you even had like stamina, like
what tools
madness, how he's gonna affect it. But
a lot of the characters just kind of happened. Like we had the role of the father he was searching for, and that's actually a trope in Greece, is like the lost boy looking for a father. And like obviously you got to have the guy taking his shirt off, because I like to make like really quite equality and feminist movies, and this one's a little bit boy heavy for my opinion, but at least we take the shirt off every 10 minutes. So I feel like
half of them naked.
Yeah, I feel like it's win-win. But yeah, and the sailor, actually, that was one of the last characters William always came to town, and he was always an English-speaking stranger. And when we were in Malta shooting another project, we met an actor who was just really good at action, and his name is Davide Tucci, and he just had a really great personality. And we're like, okay, he's great for William. What does William do? And there's a painter that we made a lot of the iconography off of, inspired by, and we basically wanted to use one of his characters. He used to paint, he was a queer artist, and he'd paint young men and sailors, especially winged boys without shirts and stuff. And we already had that in the movie already. And we're like, oh, he's a sailor.
Yeah.
He's a sailor. We can have the sailor, the traditional Greek sailor, which is such a Greek image, also, as well as just beautiful.
And I'd upset the Greek church. Great.
Yeah. So Saroukis is the name of the painter, and his style is so beautiful. And he was a set designer as well as a painter. So obviously I'm a fan because I had to do the set design as well on this movie. So we tried to put as much of his color palette and imagery in. And so some of the characters literally come off of his canvases. Some are people we know. You cannot do a movie like this without a granny, obviously. And
it's the same granny we had in the winter as well.
Yeah,
it's the same character. She's 90 something now. 90.
Yeah, that was her first action role, but she's
she's amazing.
I loved her. Do you have a favorite character, a personal favorite character, or?
No, not really. I don't think so. I think like it's just such an ensemble cast, like it kind of, I thought like I was trying to keep everybody kind of the same, because it's like everybody comes kind of have fun together. I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. I would say Narius or the Viking are like the ones with like.
I love the Viking, how stupid he is. I love him so much.
Played him more intelligently than we wrote him. Yeah, we wrote him a little bit dumber than that. And he actually brought kind of he's actually a scholar, Igor Glazovitz, who plays the Viking. We met him also on another set. He was the stunt coordinator, and we're like, oh, you'd be really good as a Viking in our Greek movie.
He's actually a real life Viking. He actually like what he does in real life is lives in a Viking village and leads battles of Vikings clashing each other.
Yeah, he's a Slavic scholar as well. He studies weapons, ornamenture.
He's done over like 50 books in history.
Yeah, the life, food, lifestyle, like fighting stuff,
amazing guy,
everything.
yeah.
So he brought a lot of like kind of like a certain class to the role that was like way better than we wrote it. So
Yeah.
So cool. So did he have a hand in helping you kind of choreograph some of the big battle scenes?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
he was, yeah.
Yeah, we completely, especially like the stuff, there was some like we only had a couple of shots to do it, so like when they're battling in the woods by the Schuch and stuff.
The tavern thing, it was all like, it wasn't choreo, it was like all how you call it, storyboarded frame by frame basically. So it was like you don't have time to find it on things, so it was like 10 seconds here, seconds editing in camera basically. If it didn't work, we'll be fucked. So
Totally.
But with such a low budget project, and like we only have like 24 days to shoot, you know, it's like for the whole thing, it's crazy. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at my thing because it keeps off.
Oh yeah, someone found the bum music. Well done, Brian.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian.
So clearly the FX, people keep mentioning the FX are very impressive, especially for, you know, indie films. Like you don't usually get that level of visual quality unless the person making the film is like it works in the FX industry, which you do. But yeah,
kind of like you kind of could do like one shot like really amazing to Hollywood level, or you could have something that's like a B movie basically, and obviously across the board. And we had to choose like, you know, B movie across the board. It was like we work with really, you know, like really Hollywood films. We have like, you know, amazing artists. Like you got like 100 super talented people working together to do like, you know, like a one shot, and it was just me this time. So it's not gonna be the same quality, but you know, you do what you can.
Shots he had help on 5, and then the little animated sequence in the middle was like me and another girl called Elizabeth Hun who put together the animation for that. But 900 of them were.
No, it's like many stuff that you don't see. Like every shot really has something, like deleting something, like putting the guy like in the window in the beginning. Like every shot has.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
To be honest, on the shoot, you know, you joke about, oh, fix it in post, and isn't the director such a jerk for making us do it in post or something? Because we had such a tight shoot, and you know, it's still chaos. You know, running around and trying to 30 locations and 50 actors plus extras and stuff. So a lot of surprises on the day. So he kept throwing himself under the bus each time, like, oh, we're running out of time. Okay, I'll do it in post. Like,
oh my God.
So you can't, there's, if you want to shoot it, you would,
it was either getting
that or like you lose a scene basically. So it's not, I live for the time we'll have money to have a studio, like full studio behind us.
So amazing.
To do like a proper, like, you know, visual effects film, but you know.
Yeah, and we did
and we kept like, as like we were very lucky to have like 2 of the best guys in Greece basically do the actual SFX.
The special effects on set, like the face rip and all that.
For me, it would be like SFX all the way if we could afford it, you know, but you know, you have to like balance. And like, I hate the whole thing, fucking Hollywood thing that happens, like, oh, it's only like SFX, it's not visual effects. Like every single film has like hundreds of, like, there's like hundreds of guys working and no, you know,
and no visual effects. It has no visual effects.
It's like, really, 300 people worked on that, and they're friends of mine. It's like, really?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
I mean, when we can do it practical, oh my God, we want to do it practical.
The mixture is always great. Like, I mean, if you can, you should do it practical. But
we had a house in Athens. It's a Prokopis Vlaseros special makeup effects, and they are rock stars.
The face thing that comes off, it was like, oh.
Yeah. Prokopis and Maria, and Maria like paints skin, like it's just incredible. Like it just, every detail is there. The colors are perfect, and like Prokopis is super creative, and like all the physical stuff of the effect, like, and it was just a really fun team to work with on set because we were small and tight, and like, you know, throwing the buckets of slime on people from above and stuff. But
that's the good thing as well. When you don't have money, it's like you can be so freaking creative, you know. It's like, it's, you don't have a big studio behind you, like in sales. People say, no, you haven't put like 10, like, you know, flashbacks for the people to understand what's happening. It's like before, you know. So it's hopefully it's fun and you get it. I don't know. It was, I think it was good not to have the
input of a studio on top of it.
The creative thumb on the back, basically, because you usually have it in a big budget film, basically. So,
and you just summed up right there why we love independent films. It's because you get a pure kind of pure from the source like
Yes.
story screen without the interference of like the marketing department or the the
Yeah.
money people who just like they just want to wring every like their motivations are different than an artist who's trying to put something out there for people to see. So it's just that movies are so expensive. Like I understand why that happens, but it's really that independent films can exist in this world. And
So I mean, like after a
Yeah,
certain
I
level of
think
budget becomes, and
it's a boon to work at this level
Yeah.
of budget, because it's like it does mean that you're not quite as
Maybe
you're
a
not
little bit-
spending so much. Yeah, we could
a
have a
little
little
more
bit more.
effects, but
Yeah.
but like there's a couple of directors that have the power to say no to like pressures like Del Toro and a couple of more, but most of the other people is like if
You
a
gotta do what they're
producer
telling you. Yeah.
tells you you have to do this, you will have to do this, or you get fired, and they get the next director in. So it's like
Yeah.
you don't have a choice. Really. It's not. There's like Del Toro, he's done amazing stuff for the genre and progressed so much. And it's not as many people have the power that has,
Yeah, so he has the right to not compromise.
Yeah, so it's great, but
you mentioned before about the set design and the overall design. I wanted to ask you about the creature design, like the big guy that's like he has all like so many tentacles.
Why so many tentacles?
There's so many, but it's all like roots kind of reaching out, like he wants to like anchor himself in the harbor. But can you talk a little bit about the concept for the monster?
It's basically Azathoth, it's like it's like it's not complicated. It's just like it's somewhere between like a beholder with tentacles. Basically,
a lot of eyes though. We did, and the eyeball. You have to explain the Greek eyeball.
Oh yeah. Basically, in Greece and probably many cultures as well. Like sure, in Mexico, I'm not sure if you guys have it in the state. Like we have this evil eye thing called
the blue evil eye. Like when you go to a kebab shop, you see like the blue glass eye.
And my granny used to say like that kind of like, oh, beware of this granny next door. She can look at the donkey and she'll kill the donkey just by looking at it with her blue eyes or something. So we want to make it like the big monster had to be kind of big, but the small ones had to be really silly. And basically, it's like a giant blue evil eye with tentacles, basically.
Yeah, so we took the Greek blue glass eye, and it's like if you go to an island, it's on like every keychain, everything. So it's their like good luck anti-evil symbol. And now we've justified it because we've had monsters shaped like it attacking. So now you have a reason to carry the blue eye is to keep the tentacle creatures off. So
and then it was so surprising to then be inside the creature and then have two ancient
really silly idea
sitting around playing chess and like just like, oh, what's happening now? Okay, and they're just like, whatever.
Yeah, I want to go like to really be moved territory with the fog, like proper like Hammer horror, like I don't know, just and the fact that they escape with the bike at the end is just
yeah, and also to kind of show that bit where it's like, yes, some things have never changed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
same guys. It's like and like if you want to go to a creature like the same creature, like it's just like a 4-dimensional creature that travels time and at the same, it hasn't died at the end, it just went through basically our thing and will come again.
I mean, what happens in the ancient prequel?
No. I'm never making another MINORE again. That's not. It's like brand it off. But,
so in the film plot itself, like I was wondering why Nicodemus seems to be the one who understands that, or he has it seems like he has some sort of knowledge about the creatures, and like he understands that they have to do the musical performances every night, otherwise it'll get really bad. Like how does he, do you have a backstory for him? Like how does he know all this stuff?
Who did have a full backstory, basically, like
he's the guardian. He keeps the monsters at bay. So that's why he's playing in the window the first time you see him. And when you see him playing in that window, he's on the seaside trying to put that song out, and he's got to do it or everything collapses. The gate will open if he doesn't play this song on the correct nights.
It's like Eric's basically, but when we did the characters, it was like we had the whole backstory of when he went to Italy in Malta basically, and he was an archaeologist, and then he discovered like a papyrus, and yeah, it's like we had the whole backstory why but we don't explain in the movie. He just is, you know, like, as you don't explain anything else, really, just it's what he does. But yeah, I think I don't know, and I kind of hate now that you have to know everything about everything. I don't know.
Well, there's like appropriate amount of backstory,
Yeah.
and then there's not explaining ourselves.
I think
So I feel like you gotta find that.
Yeah.
We maybe we don't always nail it, but we're trying. But also over expositing is always one of those things where you're like you're in a car and for 10 minutes it's like you're explaining. And
Yeah.
now I'm going to tell you why. So we're trying to find that balance where we don't tell enough, but or don't overtell, but don't undertell. But I feel like I like to do props for those kind of stories, but I'm biased.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. That's really lovely.
So someone in the chat just said, it reminds me of how Gareth Edwards made Monsters, small budget, great effects, made by himself on his MacBook, and it's a movie with a distilled identity not muddled by dozens of writers and huge committee filmmaking. I mean, that was like a guerrilla movie. Like he went down to Mexico with like a bunch of cash and I think a sound guy and a camera guy. Maybe he was the camera guy. And then they had 2 actors cast, and then the rest of the actors were just people they found along the way. Which is incredible.
So good. So good. 2 other movies that I think really influenced us for this were Grabbers, the Irish movie.
Awesome. You guys watch this?
It's monsters. There's a pub. It's the most Irish movie you're ever gonna Irish.
You really should check Grabbers out. It's far better effects than us. Like basically, it's it had the studio working on it.
Yeah,
but it's like it's an amazing movie.
Also the host, because and it, you know, the family and the monster. Like for us, the way that the monster story was so embedded in the local culture, and it was like it was about normal situations and people, but then this happens. And I think for us, we wanted to tell a story that was in this Greek world we were seeing. Like, I mean, you know, like what is the equivalent of that in Greece, and like how can we make it as Greek as this one's Irish? And you know, what is special about this place that we can put a monster in it and then see how it all reacts. So I
mean, we brought out, like, you know, I brought my Greekness, you brought your
I just want to look at like an outsider.
You can't escape it. You know, you'll put what you know.
I'm really happy to hear you say Grabbers, because when people were asking me as the festival director, they often ask me or Brian, like, hey, what should I see? And I will tell them, like, well, what are you in the mood for? Or like, what kind of thing? And they'll ask, like, what's MINORE like? I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to explain. It's Greek, and it's like Grabbers meets Mamma Mia, but not like
exactly.
But, you know, she's looking for his father and he's looking for his father, and there's music, and you know, there's
that is perfectly accurate, I'd say.
So I'm very happy. I hope I'm not saying this like anything bad or wrong. Like,
no,
exactly.
No,
like,
spot on.
And we kind of want to make a fun thing, you know, it's COVID, and it's like, it was like after like
we've all been through some stuff. Like, let's have some fun and not take ourselves too seriously, and just big goofy. We like our previous movies were quite introverted and like introspective, and like that was super fun, and it was really great to find our feet that way. But doing something that's a little bit more out there and splashier and just wilder feeling, and like that you want to watch it by the seaside in the cinema with some popcorn and your friends, and like, you know,
it's
like
made for midnight, like, you know?
we wanted something that gets the crowd going and gets that sense of fun.
Like Brazil was like our first land when we screened Fantaspoa in Brazil. Like people actually took their like tops off and started dancing. It was amazing. Actually, it was crazy. It was hilarious.
Well, our audience didn't quite react that way, but there were definitely, like, it was a full theater. Like, I think there was no room left to sit in this one of the upstairs theater, but there's over 100 people sitting in this theater, and there were moments where they all cheered. Like in the final battle when they're all lined up, you know, like the whole audience is like, yeah. So
oh my god, that's
definitely
amazing.
Got a good reaction.
Thank you, everybody who came.
Thanks so much, guys.
Did it.
So I want to show you this, like something that we bought recently on one of our trips.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Oh my
god, that is awesome.
it's crazy, guys. Like if you think like there's like there's so many films like by independent filmmakers are made, like the number, like it's like something like 3,000 films per year. It's so hard to get out, and the fact that you guys like, you know, promote independent filming and like shows us is so amazing. Like it could have like equally have been done and nobody could have watched it. I know of like great films that just never been to a single festival and disappeared. You know, it's like it's so hard without promotion to be out there. It's like, yeah.
And even I love going to festivals, so getting to see films I wouldn't normally choose myself to see because it's not in the queue on Netflix, or it's not like easy to just watch it immediately. So I love seeing like what other international filmmakers are making and stuff. So when you go to a festival like that, it's, and you're with your people and your audience, and you like everybody's there to watch exactly that kind of movie. So we love that.
I wish we could, yeah. I wish I was there. Yeah.
We wish you were too. Next time you have to.
We promise.
Could invent that teleportation device so you can just pop it out. But it struck me when you were saying like you wanted to make the story in this, how can we make it very Greek? But the community there, it seems like they're all kind of just, they accept this is how it is, this is what they do, and then when the going gets rough, they all band together and they kick its ass. And it struck me like just now thinking about this that from the outside at first they look like they're crazy, like you guys are nuts, like what are you doing? You know, like there's all these characters, they're all very quirky and like fun, and then you realize like, oh no, they were right, there is like something they had to keep getting ready for. So for me, like looking at people who we kind of jokingly talk about ourselves as cultists and like Cthulhu cultists, and we get together and we beware and like watch for the signs and things like that. And I know that someday when something happens, all of the people that come to our festival, all the Lovecraft fans are gonna be like, I told you so, and now we know what to do.
Exactly.
I mean,
you're gonna be looking for the signs and everybody else is just gonna be like, wait, why?
I mean,
well, they did say they were saying during the pandemic that people who are quite big fans of horror and stuff were actually having less negative psychological responses to that. And I think one of the things we do when we watch these kind of films is we indulge in practicing these stressful situations, and it kind of prepares you for it, but you've been through it once, so now you can kind of handle it when it comes up. Like I don't know if that's it, but there's a sort of catharsis to it. But also even the horror filmmakers we know are some of the calmest, most zen, like nice people, because we got our demons out. The demons are out, we're good.
Like
we're gonna rip some faces off, it's fine.
When Cthulhu arises again, now that we have the plush toy, will we go mad 100% or like 80% mad? I don't know. You have it here. It's like, I don't know, maybe not.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, like all of as you were saying, horror film fans have already kind of done the mental gymnastics about like, what if this happened, or what if this happened, what would I do in this situation, or what could you do in this situation? And it's like we've already been doing like the mental prep for it.
Exactly.
Funny. So what you were talking about how hard it is to get your film in front of people, like it. So Eric Margaret, who's on another podcast and is also a friend of ours and a filmmaker, his podcast is Strange Eons Radio. Just loved the film. He talked about it on the episode where they talked about the Lovecraft Film Festival, but he wanted to know if there's any plans for streaming or distribution of this film, or if you're still like working it out.
We have a really great sales agent. We're with Raven Banner in Canada here. And so they're working, they've just done their first, we should be putting it out in America. I do not have details that I can expostulate about in that, but there is plans to put it out in America. So it will be on some streaming and things like that. We're still doing our festival run. So we're going to Rotterdam next month.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like we got Rotterdam International, which is usually start with the world premiere, and we're at the end of our run and we just got it, which is especially for us.
It looks like we'll be drifting through festivals a bit longer yet. And so we're hoping to hit a few more around the world and show it to audiences there. But yeah, definitely North America. We'll be showing it. Also, looking at cinema release in Greece and probably Malta as well. So it'll go out. It has the correct basis to be put out now. So we're really
Hopefully,
excited to see where it goes.
Okay,
But
well, keep me
still,
posted.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me see.
Well, cool. I feel like this would be a good kind of a natural ending point to our Q&A, because I could talk to you guys for 2 more hours about film.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
And your film and everything. So great. I hope that you guys hop on. Like, it looks like you got into the Discord, so I'm sure throughout the weekend, MINORE is still available to watch until
Yeah, we
December.
can answer.
Yeah, I'll check in. I'll check in, try to answer anything I see.
Yeah, just check in every now and then and see if anyone else has questions. You can answer them. And if you're watching films too, we encourage you guys to talk to each other and ask each other about your films too. So thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon. You guys are in Canada, so it's getting later there, but I just really appreciate you coming and talking with us. And it's so nice to finally meet you, because we've been corresponding with you since like 2013 and really love all your films. So thank you.
Well, lovely to meet you guys, and I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's like,
thank you everybody watching, and thank you Gwen and Brian and everyone from HP Lovecraft. It's like an amazing festival, and like we're so glad that this is out there. And thank you everybody. Ask us anything. We'll answer anything, even silly stuff. Totally,
especially silly.
Yeah, or cats.
Cats.
Yeah, cats are okay.
If people want to kind of follow your work or see past work, where should they go to do that?
We can put like a couple of links in
I'll put
Discord.
the links up. We've got an Instagram page for the film, but also for ourselves, and like our company's called Melancholy Star, and that's like our portfolio and like the VFX and all that. So, but yeah, I'll put up some links, Instagram stuff. That's probably the
please
easiest
follow
way
the
to
film,
keep
and
track.
hopefully we'll have like some news about distribution, and we're hoping to have like an amazing Blu-ray release. That's like a really nice like collectible thing. So that's what I'm aiming for.
There's other exciting news, but we're works in progress with it. So
okay. So are you at MINORE the film?
Yes, that's the movie's
that's the movie's account. Okay, people should go there and look for news about distribution, and guys, talk about this on your blogs, post about MINORE and like tag them, and this is all things that distribution and like companies look at to see if there's already a fan base for it. So you can do your part to help independent film by talking loudly about the films that you've enjoyed at these festivals. So thank you so much. That's it, everyone. Go watch more movies. And Elizabeth and Kostas, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We appreciate you so much.
So good to meet
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Thank you.